humanity, how far we've come in our understanding, our comprehension, our inventions, and our lives. More than just the simple DNA sequences that make up each and every one of us. We all have a latent ability, an inherent gift towards good and evil, as well as naivety towards the world as it is, as we move forward as a society. Information wars waged in secret. The knowledge of those gifted in systemic systems versus the suppression of those who would keep things a secret. Stealth versus force.
Hey, you man.
As a society, our culture is based largely on finances. Aerospace and defense, future of warfare, high-tech militaries will fight smoldering proxy wars, and private armies will battle on behalf of autonomous bodies like cities and even companies. Basically, they who have the capital, the finance, will rule. Future wars will not begin and end. Instead, they will hibernate and they will smolder, wrote defense strategist Sean McFate in an article outlining his prediction for the future of conflict. His portrayal of the gray zone between war and peace, now widely accepted among experts, will widely be the result of evolving international relations and changes to who appears on the front lines. Insecurities over the resources and pressures of climate change and population growth, as well as long-running religious tensions, are likely to lead to conflicts that bubble continuously, analysis says. Occasionally, they will spill over into the public arena, and there, everyone forced to live will undoubtedly suffer. A continuous cycle of violence. This will undoubtedly make for a revival of mercenaries and will have a cataclysmic effect where weapons and assets once thought to only be available for purchase for specific countries will now be able to be bought by special forces groups engaging in conflicts for money. Private armies, as seen in history, are inevitably part of world's military's futures. This will undoubtedly make for most dangerous trends in our times. Yes, it is invisible to most people. The average person does not see the true danger that exists around every corner. What is the future of war? Toby Walsh is a professor of artificial intelligence at the University of South Wales in Sydney, Australia. He is a fellow of the Australian Academy of Science he was also behind the 2 open letters to the Academy of Science. Artificial intelligence, AI, will transform our lives. It will touch almost every aspect of society, business, education, transportation, medicine, and even politics. The world will be much worse if in 20 years' time the military are using lethal autonomous systems, laws. For there are no laws about laws. The media likes to call them killer robots. The problem with calling them killer robots is that it conjures up the picture of the Terminator. But it is not the Terminator. That worries me. Me and thousands of my colleagues in the field of AI. It is much simpler technologies that are at best a decade or so away. Take an existing Predator drone and replace it with a human pilot, and replace that pilot with a computer. This technology is possible today, and the attractiveness of such technology is very obvious. The weakest link in a drone is to the radio, back to the base. Drones have been sabotaged by jamming their radio links. Have a drone fly, track the target for itself, and you have a perfect weapon. From technology's perspective, it will never sleep, it will fight 24/7, it will have a superhuman accuracy and reflexes system inside of it. There are, however, many reasons why this will be a terrible development in warfare. This will be a revolution in warfare, in fact. The revolution is the invention of gunpowder as well. The second was the invention of nuclear weapons, and this will be the third. Each step has changed in the speed and efficiency with which we could kill our opponents, and this speaks volumes about today. There will be a mass destruction. Previously, if you wanted to do harm, you had to have an army of soldiers to wage war. Now, all you would need is just one programmer. Like every other weapon of mass destruction before, it's like a chemical or biological and nuclear weapons. We need to have a ban on such weaponry. There will be weapons of terror. They will fall into the hands of terrorists and rogue states that will have no qualms about turning them on civilian populations. They will be ideal weapons with which to spread and suppress civilian populations. Unlike humans, they will not hesitate to commit atrocities and even genocide. And this is the world that we live in today. And I believe the very future of war, a future war, if you will. And this is the beginning of the societal collapse. And not many are even speaking on this. This particular information, a large portion of it has been revealed by hackers. They have infiltrated the networks, and in fact, the majority of them have built the very networks in which this information is trafficked. And so, we move forward. These so-called hackers initially warned Congress that the internet is in fact not secure. 20 years later, their message is still identical. The internet is in fact not secure and has not been. A collective of young hackers came to Washington with a warning for Congress. The software networks everywhere were woefully insecure. During that now infamous hearing in May 1998, one told the senators that any of the 7 individuals seated before you could take down the internet in just half an hour, as to give a true meaning of the word insecure and how powerful hacking truly is, the accumulation of knowledge. A prime example, he said, is the president known as Trump. Politico reported this week that Trump has refused to ditch his phone that he uses for Twitter, even though it doesn't have sophisticated security features to protect communications. a departure from his predecessor, or to turn his phone into security pros to look for possible compromises. The phone technology is much more sophisticated today than it has ever been, and everyone should take proper precautions. Just a few weeks ago, hackers used this to steal more than 150,000 in cryptocurrencies, said Chris Waspal, who goes by the hacker alias name Wildpond. We're still building new technologies like cryptocurrency and blockchain, with all its promise of being secure, on the old foundations, he said. We keep building new things on old infrastructure that never seems to get fixed. And this is one of the problems of today. One of the preconditions to a societal collapse is the propping up of various markets, much like the stock market, ever propped. Once the war begins, whose side will you choose to be on?
That's right. I am Kira.